Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today we're going to be replacing this outlet with a new one. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the electricity is turned off in the outlet, which as you can see there is no reading on here, so power is off. Next thing we're going to unscrew the screw on the plate that covers the top of the outlet. And then you can see the outlet itself is just worn out. Now on top of the outlet you can see there's a lot of years of paint on top here, so you want to take a utility knife and you want to clean up all of the paint that's on your switch or outlet before you go ahead and unscrew it and wind up ripping off the or damaging the sheetrock. Alright, so now we're going to tap on the screw because the screw has got a lot of paint over the top of it, so we're going to clean that paint out so that we can get in there and we can turn the screws and get them to come out. Okay, now before you pull the outlet and damage the sheetrock, just make sure it is nice and loose before you give it a pull. And now we'll just pull it out and twist it down so that we can gain access to the wiring in the back of the outlet itself. And you want to take note at this point where the wires are because you're going to need to put them back in the exact same place that they came out of. Now in this case we're cutting off the wires and removing them because they were actually not screwed down, but they were pushed into the back of the switch itself. We're going to disconnect our ground, which is just a regular flathead screwdriver, and we'll take that ground wire out. Now our new outlet, we're going to take and we're going to install the new outlet, but you have to put it in the exact same way that it came out. First thing we're going to do now is we're going to screw the screws all the way back in so that they're tight. And there should be 4 of them on your outlet. Screw them in because we're not going to use those screws at this point. We're going to actually strip the wires down and we're going to put them back in as they were on the previous outlet that came out. Okay, now we're just going to straighten our wires out and we're going to get our wire strippers to strip away some of the insulation on the wires. Make sure to use the correct size. You don't want to damage the copper part of the wire at all. You want to remove the insulation without damaging the copper. So we're going to do that on all 4 of these wires. Okay, so now that we have the wires stripped back so that just the insulation is removed, we just push the wires back into the electrical box. So let's line up our black wires, and remember the black wires have to go into that little tiny hole right on the side right there, and you want to push it in and make sure it's tight. Make sure you have your outlet set exactly as the other one came out. We have our ground facing down, so that's the way we're going to do it again. Push the wire in until you'll feel it snap in place, and you give it a little tug to make sure they're nice and tight. And then we'll flip it around. We'll take our white wires and we'll connect those white wires back in where they came out of. Push them in again as far as you can. Give it a tug to make sure they're nice and tight. Alright, next thing we're going to do now is we're going to just take our ground wire and we're going to unscrew the screw that holds the ground wire, and usually it's a green nut that you have to remove, or a screw I should say. We're going to hook our wire around that screw. We're just straightening out our wire so we can hook it around through there properly. You want to have the wire hook around so that when you tighten the wire down, it pulls the ground wire tighter instead of opening it up. So if you're screwing it to the right or clockwise to tighten it up, you want to have the loop on the right side so it tightens down without opening. Now after everything is tight, We're going to take our wires and push our wiring back inside the wall where it previously came out. We just make a little bit of a bend in it. And then push our outlet back in there. Remember, you want to have the ground facing down, which is how it came out. So we're going to make sure we put it back in the exact same way. And now you want to catch these screws, and you want to catch them loosely. You don't want to tighten up one and the other one you didn't tighten at all. You want to tighten the bottom one and just catch it, and then go down to the bottom one and tighten that in a little bit and catch that. And then once you have them both caught, then you can screw them down and tighten them down all the way. Alright, and now that our outlet is tight, we're going to put our cover back on the top over here. And the outlet cover comes with the new screws, of course. And you can see that this is a modern style outlet versus the older style. So we needed a new cover. We could not use the old cover over. We needed to replace it. Again, you would catch both screws loosely before you tighten up one or the other. And then once you have them both caught, then of course you can tighten them down until they're snug. Remember, you're only going into plastic, so don't tighten it up too tight and break anything. Alright, now after we get our outlet installed, we're going to put our tester back inside there, and then we're going to go and we're going to turn our power supply on, and we're going to make sure it's okay. Okay, let's get our power on, and as you can see, we have the correct voltage. Now you want to make sure that you connected your wires up correctly. If the lights are lighting up and it shows that there's a problem inside there, then you'll have to turn the power off and go back inside and find out what you did wrong. But it's fairly easy. If you remove one screw or one wire, make sure you put that wire back in the exact same place that it came out of, and you're not going to have a problem. And if you could pick up one of these testers, you'll be able to check in my Amazon store down below the video, and you can see where you can pick up one of these testers. They're fairly cheap, and it'll tell you if you did something wrong when you wired the unit itself. And that's it. This job is then done. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.